Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into the world of luxury electric SUVs today.
Sounds exciting.
Definitely. And specifically, we're looking at this 2026 Cadillac Vistiq.
Okay.
We've got a great article here from Car and Driver that really breaks down
Oh, nice.
all the details,
Mm.
and I think you'll find it pretty interesting.
Looking forward to it.
So, Cadillac's been trying to, they want to come back strong in the luxury market, and it seems like they're going all in on electric SUVs.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So this Vistiq is their latest, and it kind of sits right between the Lyriq
Okay.
and the Escalade IQ, which is, a beast.
Yeah.
So you can kind of think of it like the electric version of the XT6 if you're familiar with that
Okay.
model.
Yeah, I see.
And one thing that really stood out to me was that they've actually made a three-row SUV
Okay.
that looks pretty darn sleek.
Interesting, because usually those
Yeah.
thorough SUVs can be a little boxy.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And, it's got that impressive performance too. 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds.
Oh, quick.
Yeah.
It's no slouch.
For an SUV. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, it's got that luxury price tag.
Right. Of course.
But yeah, let's break this all down a little bit.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So first up, the article talks about how it's, surprisingly stylish, and some even compare it to the Escalade IQ
Oh, wow.
in terms of looks. Yeah, and it's definitely longer than the XT6,
Mm-hmm.
but not nearly as massive as the Escalade IQ.
Right.
So it kind of finds that sweet spot.
Yeah, I think what's interesting here is that Cadillac's really trying to create like a family look
Yeah.
for all of their electric SUVs. You see those sharp lines and that bold grille.
Totally.
It's carried over from the Lyriq and the Escalade IQ.
Right.
So they're really aiming for that instant recognition.
Yeah.
But, the question is, will buyers actually respond to that?
Yeah, that's a good point.
We'll have to wait and see.
And here's a little fun fact that I thought was pretty cool.
Okay.
You can actually tow with the Vistiq up to 500 pounds.
Oh, wow. That's not bad. Yeah. You don't always think of EVs as being, the workhorses.
Right.
But this is kind of breaking that stereotype.
Yeah, that's a good point.
A little bit.
It's becoming more common now. I'm seeing more EVs with towing capabilities.
Yeah. It's cool to see.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's get to the part I think a lot of people are most curious about when it comes to EVs.
Range and battery,
Exactly. Range and battery.
the big question.
So Cadillac is estimating a 300-mile range on this one with the 102.0 watt Ultium battery pack.
Okay.
Which is pretty decent.
Yeah, that's not bad at all, especially for, a spacious SUV like that.
Right.
And, it's important to remember that range hasn't been officially confirmed by the EPA yet,
Your going point.
but it's definitely a promising number.
Mm-hmm.
And, this Ultium battery, it's a big deal for GM.
Oh, yeah.
They're using it across a lot of their EVs now.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Like the Hummer EV, the Chevy
Mhm.
Silverado EV.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about that, that platform sharing.
Yeah.
Having one battery system that can work across different types of vehicles.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it helps them streamline production and hopefully brings costs down in the long run.
Yeah, and, speaking of the battery, the Vistiq also has bidirectional charging.
Oh, yeah, that's a cool feature.
Yeah, so you can actually use the car's battery to power your home if the electricity goes out.
Yeah, especially with, more extreme weather events these days. That could be a real lifesaver.
Definitely gives you that peace of mind.
Absolutely. And, while we're on the topic of charging, we got to talk about fast charging, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's essential for those longer trips.
Totally.
And the Vistiq can add 79 miles of range in just 10 minutes.
Wow.
Which is pretty impressive.
That's really good.
Yeah, it definitely helps reduce that range anxiety that
That's
some
it.
people have with EVs.
So let's move on to performance because this thing's got some serious muscle.
Oh, okay, let's hear it.
So it has dual motors and all-wheel drive as standard.
Wow.
And we're talking 615 horsepower. Yeah. And 649 pound-feet of torque.
That's a lot of power.
Yeah. And remember that 0 to 60 time we mentioned earlier.
3.7 seconds, right?
Yeah. 3.7 seconds. This SUV can move.
So it's basically like a sports car in SUV clothing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to give you some context, the Vistiq is actually quicker
Wow.
than a lot of sports cars out there.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Cadillac's clearly going for, they want to trap those drivers who want that thrill, that excitement.
Makes sense. And, they're also offering 2 suspension options.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
So the standard one is a semi-active damping system, which constantly adjusts the suspension
Okay.
to give you the smoothest ride possible. And then there's an optional air ride suspension
Oh,
that can actually raise or lower the car, and it's supposed to be even more comfortable.
Wow, so they're really catering to different preferences there.
Yeah, exactly. I think it shows they're trying to appeal to a wider range of
Yeah,
drivers.
for sure. And of course, we have to talk about the different trim levels. So the Vistiq comes in luxury sport and premium luxury trims at launch.
Okay,
And then a platinum trim is coming later.
gotcha.
And the base luxury trim starts at $78,790,
Okay,
which, you know, it's not cheap,
right.
but it's kind of in line with other luxury electric SUVs
Yeah, that makes
that
sense.
are on the market.
Yeah.
All right, so let's step inside this Vistiq and see what it's all about.
Okay, let's go.
So the Car and Driver article describes this really luxurious interior
Mm-hmm.
with a massive 33-inch curved digital display
Wow.
that just stretches across the entire dashboard.
That's a statement piece for sure.
Oh, yeah. And get this. There's a 5-zone climate control system.
5 zones.
5 zones, so everyone in the car can have their own personalized temperature.
Wow. That's a luxury.
Yeah, no more fighting over the AC.
Exactly. Everyone's happy.
Everyone's happy.
So, Cadillac's really using that technology and design
Yeah.
to create that high-end feel. That huge display is a trend we're seeing in more and more cars these days. Some people love it. Some people find it distracting.
Yeah, it's definitely a conversation starter.
For sure.
And for families, there's an option to replace that standard second-row bench seat
Okay.
with captain chairs.
Oh, nice.
So you get even more comfort and space.
Yeah, that's a good option for families.
Yeah, especially if you've got, teenagers or taller people in the back.
Exactly.
And as far as production goes, it's set to begin in early 2025,
Okay.
but the different trims will be rolled out gradually.
Gotcha.
So luxury sport and premium luxury will be available first, and then that platinum trim will come later.
Interesting strategy.
Yeah, I wonder why they're doing it that way.
Well, maybe they want to build up that anticipation,
yeah, that could be it.
and make sure they can meet the initial demand for those core models
That makes a lot of sense.
before they introduce that, top-of-the-line platinum trim.
Yeah, and it's already generating so much buzz.
Right, exactly. And speaking of buzz, it's going to be interesting to see how Cadillac ramps up production to keep up with what's sure to be, strong demand.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So we've covered, we've talked about the design,
Mm-hmm.
the performance, that impressive range,
Right.
the luxurious interior, and even the production timeline.
Yeah, we've hit all the key points.
But what does it all mean for Cadillac and for you as a potential buyer?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
Well, on paper, the Vistiq seems to have everything it needs to be a real contender in that luxury electric SUV market. It's stylish, it's powerful,
Yeah.
it's got decent range for everyday driving,
Yeah.
and it's loaded with all those tech and luxury features.
It does sound pretty compelling.
Yeah, but as with anything, there's always another side to the story.
Okay, so what are we missing? What else should we be thinking about?
Well, for starters, the luxury EV market is getting seriously crowded.
Yeah, that's true.
You've got established players like Audi, BMW, Mercedes-Benz.
Right.
They're all coming out with their own impressive electric SUVs. And then you have these newer companies like Rivian and Lucid who are really shaking things up.
They are.
So the Vistiq is stepping into a very competitive arena,
It is.
and it's going to have to fight hard to stand out.
So what do you think are its biggest strengths? What makes it unique?
Well, I think the design is definitely eye-catching.
Yeah.
It's a fresh take on that traditional three-row SUV look. And that performance, we can't forget about that 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds.
Seriously.
That puts it in a league of its own.
It does.
And, the starting price, while it's not exactly a bargain,
Right.
it is competitive for this segment of the market.
Okay, so those are some strong points, but what about its weaknesses?
Well, the 300-mile range, while it's respectable,
Yeah.
it's not the best in its class.
Okay.
Some of its rivals are offering ranges closer to 400 miles.
Wow.
And while the Ultium battery platform has a lot of potential,
Yeah.
it's still relatively new technology, so it's going to take some time to see how it performs in the long run.
Makes sense.
And then there's the Cadillac brand itself.
Yeah.
They've been working hard to reestablish themselves as a luxury leader,
Right.
but they still have some work to do
Yeah.
to convince some buyers that they can truly compete with the likes of Mercedes and BMW,
Especially in the EV space.
especially in the EV space, yeah.
So it sounds like the Vistiq has a lot going for it,
Yeah,
but it also faces some tough competition.
it does.
So what do you think? Will it be a success?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
I think it has the potential to be a hit.
Mm-hmm.
It checks a lot of the right boxes.
Yeah.
And Cadillac is clearly putting a lot of effort into making this a flagship vehicle
Right.
for their push into the electric market.
They are.
But success in this industry, it's not just about specs and features.
Right.
It's about brand perception,
Yeah.
how well they market the Vistiq, and frankly, a bit of luck.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
I agree. It's going to be an exciting race to watch.
Absolutely.
And I have a feeling this is just the beginning of Cadillac's electric journey.
Oh, yeah, they're just getting started.
Yeah. So for our listener who might be considering a luxury electric SUV,
Mm-hmm.
what are some key things they should be thinking about as they compare the Vistiq to its competitors?
That's a great question. First and foremost, I'd say think about your own needs and priorities. How much space do you need? How important is range to you?
Yeah.
What kind of driving experience are you looking for?
Good points.
Once you have a good understanding of what you personally need
Yeah.
from a vehicle, then you can start to narrow down your choices.
That makes sense.
Don't just get caught up in the hype or the specs on paper.
Right.
Think about how the car will actually fit into your life.
That's great advice.
Yeah, and do your research.
Okay.
Read reviews from reputable sources, watch videos,
Mm-hmm.
and if at all possible, try to test drive a few different models,
Yeah.
to get a real feel for them.
That's key. Yeah, the more informed you are, the better decision you'll be able to make.
Absolutely. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've explored the Vistiq's design, its performance, its range, that luxurious interior,
Right.
and even its place in that larger electric SUV market.
We've really gone deep.
We have. What are some final thoughts you want to leave our listener with?
Well, I think it's safe to say that the Vistiq is a compelling vehicle that's worth serious consideration.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bold statement from Cadillac.
It is.
And it signals their commitment to an electric future,
Yeah.
where electric SUVs are the norm, not the exception.
Well said. So the big question remains, can Cadillac truly regain its place as a leader in the luxury market in this new electric era?
Well, that's for you to decide.
Yeah.
I encourage you to explore the world of electric SUVs, compare the Vistiq to its rivals,
Yeah.
and ultimately form your own opinion.
Good advice.
The future of luxury is electric,
It is.
and it's unfolding right before our eyes. I love that perspective. It really feels like we're at a turning point in the car industry.
Yeah, it's an exciting time.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to go back to something we touched on earlier,
Okay.
that Ultium battery platform.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about why this technology is so important?
Sure.
Not just for the Vistiq, but for the future of EVs in general.
Yeah, that's a great question. And it really gets to the heart of what's happening in the EV market right now.
Okay.
So the Ultium platform is a modular battery system,
Okay.
which means GM can use it to build all sorts of different EVs,
Gotcha.
from small cars to large trucks.
Interesting.
It's like having a set of building blocks that can be arranged in various configurations.
Makes sense.
This flexibility helps them reduce manufacturing costs and could potentially lead to more affordable EVs down the road.
So it's not just about this one car.
Right.
It's about creating a foundation for a whole ecosystem of electric vehicles.
Exactly. And the Ultium platform is designed to be quite energy dense. Okay.
Which means they can pack a lot of power into a relatively compact space.
Yeah.
And that's crucial for maximizing range,
Right.
which, as we discussed, is a major concern for a lot of EV buyers.
For sure.
So it's a pretty big deal.
It sounds like the Ultium platform has the potential to be a real game changer.
It does. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it evolves
Yeah,
and what impact it has on the EV market as a whole.
definitely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We've explored the Vistiq's design performance range, that impressive interior, and even its place in the competitive landscape.
Yep.
But what I find most intriguing is Cadillac's ambition.
Yeah.
It feels like they're not just trying to get another car.
Right?
They're trying to redefine what luxury means in the electric age.
I agree with you there.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, for a long time, luxury was associated with things like opulent interiors, powerful engines,
Yeah.
a certain level of prestige.
But as we transition to electric vehicles, those traditional markers of luxury are evolving.
So what will define luxury in this new electric era?
That's a great question, and I think it's a complex answer.
Okay.
Technology will certainly play a key role.
Yeah?
We're already seeing that with features like advanced driver assistance systems,
Right.
personalized in-car experiences, seamless connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
But sustainability will also be crucial.
Okay.
Luxury brands will need to show that they're committed to environmentally responsible practices,
Yeah,
from sourcing materials to manufacturing processes.
that makes sense.
It's not just about the car itself, it's
Oh.
about the values it represents.
Yeah, I agree with that. And design, I think, will continue to be paramount.
Absolutely.
Luxury EVs will need to be visually striking,
Yeah.
convey a sense of sophistication and elegance,
Mm-hmm.
but they'll also need to be functional and practical for everyday use.
For sure, it's a balance.
So it's a balancing act
Yeah.
between form and function technology and sustainability, and appealing to both our emotions and our practical needs.
Exactly.
And I think Cadillac with the Vistiq is trying to navigate this new landscape of luxury.
I think so too.
Whether they succeed remains to be seen.
We'll see.
But their ambition is certainly commendable.
Absolutely.
And ultimately, it's up to each individual to decide what luxury means to them in this new era of electric vehicles.
That's right.
Well, I think we've given our listener a lot to think about today.
I hope so.
We've gone beyond just the facts and figures
Yeah.
and delved into those broader trends shaping the future of luxury and transportation.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts?
Well, I think we've explored not just the what, but the why.
Yes.
And that deeper understanding is essential for making informed decisions
It is.
in a world that's changing so rapidly.
Couldn't agree more. And as always, we encourage our listener to continue exploring,
Yes.
researching, and forming their own conclusions. The world of electric vehicles is exciting and evolving quickly.
It is.
We're really just at the beginning
Yeah, the journey's just starting.
of this incredible journey.
For sure.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the 2026 Cadillac Vistiq.
My pleasure. That staggered release, I think it's a pretty clever strategy.
Yeah, makes you
You
wonder.
know, lets them focus on building up anticipation,
Right.
meeting that initial demand for those core models, and then later on, bam, they hit us with that platinum trim.
Makes a lot of sense, especially with, all the buzz.
Oh yeah, the hype is real.
Yeah, it is. So speaking of buzz, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Cadillac handles production.
Yeah, can they scale up fast enough?
Right, because if the demand's there,
Exactly, they got to be ready.
so we've talked about the design performance, that impressive range, luxurious interior, even the production timeline.
Hit all the bases.
We have, but what does it all actually mean for Cadillac and for, a potential buyer?
Well, on paper, the Vistiq seems to have it all.
Yeah, it does.
To be a major player in the luxury electric SUV market, stylish, powerful, decent range for everyday driving,
Right.
packed with technology and luxury features.
That's pretty good to me.
Yeah, but, there's always more to the story.
Okay, so what are we missing here? What else should we consider?
Competition.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That luxury EV market is getting fierce.
It is.
You got those big names, Audi, BMW, Mercedes-Benz.
Right.
They're not just sitting around.
No.
They're all coming out with their own electric SUVs.
And they're pretty good.
Oh, yeah. And then you got those newcomers like Rivian and Lucid really pushing the boundaries.
They are.
So, yeah, the Vistiq, it's entering a crowded space.
It is.
Got to stand out somehow.
So what do you think its biggest strengths are? What sets it apart?
Well, that design, I got to say, it's a head turner.
Yeah, it is.
Fresh take on that classic three-row SUV.
It is.
And that performance, remember, 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds.
Hard to forget that.
Not many SUVs out there can match that.
Definitely not.
And the price, while it's not exactly cheap,
Right.
it's actually competitive for this level of luxury.
Okay, so those are the good points. What about the not so good points?
Well, that 300-mile range, while it's decent, it's not top of the class.
Right.
Some rivals are pushing closer to 400 miles.
Wow, that's a big difference.
It is. And, the Ultium battery platform, while promising,
Yeah.
it's still relatively new.
Right.
So we need to see how it holds up over time.
Long term.
Exactly. And then there's the Cadillac brand itself.
Oh, yeah, that's fact.
They're trying to reclaim that luxury crown.
Mm-hmm.
But some buyers might still be hesitant.
Especially with EVs.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about going up against Mercedes and BMW.
Tough competition.
So, yeah, the Vistiq has a lot going for it, but it's got an uphill battle.
It does. So what's your verdict? Will it succeed?
That's the question everyone's asking.
That is.
I think it has the potential.
Okay.
It checks a lot of the right boxes.
Yeah.
Cadillac seems committed.
They do.
They want this to be a flagship.
It shows.
But, success is a fickle thing.
It is.
It's not just about the car itself.
What else then?
Brand perception marketing, even a bit of luck, plays a role.
True. So we'll have to wait and see.
Exactly. It's going to be fun to watch it all unfold.
I agree. This is just the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Cadillac's electric journey is just getting started.
So for our listeners out there thinking about getting a luxury electric SUV, what advice would you give them as they compare the Vistiq to other options?
Good question. First thing I'd say is
Yeah.
know yourself. What are your needs? What are your priorities?
Okay.
How much space do you actually need? How important is range to you?
Right.
What kind of driving experience are you after? Once you have a handle on that,
Yeah.
then you can start narrowing down the choices.
Makes sense. Don't just go by the hype.
Exactly. Look beyond the flashy specs.
Right. Think about how the car will actually fit into your life.
Exactly. And do your homework, read reviews, watch videos, test drive a few different models if you can.
Yeah. That's key.
Get a feel for them. You know, the more informed you are,
Yeah.
the better decision you can make.
Couldn't agree more. All right, so we've done a deep dive here.
We have.
Explored the Vistiq's design, its performance, that range, that luxurious interior, its place in the market.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
We have any final thoughts for our listeners?
Well, I think it's safe to say that the Vistiq is a compelling vehicle.
It is.
Definitely worth considering. It's a bold move from Cadillac.
It is.
Shows they're serious about this electric future.
Yeah, and that electric SUVs are here to stay.
They are the new normal.
So the big question is, can Cadillac reclaim that luxury throne?
That's for you to decide.
It is.
Go out there, explore those electric SUVs.
Yeah.
Compare the Vistiq to its rivals.
Do your research.
Exactly, and form your own opinion.
Good advice.
The future of luxury is electric.
I love that.
It's happening right now.
I agree. It's an exciting time to be following the car industry.
It is. Things are changing fast.
Now, before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to something we talked about earlier.
Okay.
That Ultium battery platform.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Tell us a bit more about why this technology is so important.
Sure.
Not just for this car, but for the future of EVs as a whole.
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, and it really speaks to a bigger trend. So the Ultium platform, it's modular, which means GM can use it to build all sorts of EVs.
Makes
Small cars, big trucks, you name it.
So it's like a universal platform.
Exactly. Think of it like Lego blocks.
Okay, I like that.
You can configure them in different ways.
So it's adaptable.
Exactly. And that helps them reduce manufacturing costs.
Which hopefully means cheaper EVs for us.
That's the hope, you know, make EVs more accessible.
Yeah, and this Ultium platform, it's designed to be energy dense.
It is. They can pack a lot of power into a small space.
So more range.
Exactly. And that's a big selling point for EV buyers.
It is. Range anxiety is a real thing.
It is. So, yeah, the Ultium platform, it's a game changer.
It sounds like it'll be interesting to see how it impacts the market.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The whole EV landscape could shift.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
Explore the Vistiq's design performance range. That impressive interior, its place in the market.
Yeah, we've really gone deep.
We have. But what I find most intriguing is Cadillac's ambition.
Yeah, they're aiming high.
They are. It's like they're not just trying to build another car.
Right.
They're trying to redefine what luxury means in this electric age.
I think that's a great way to put it.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, for a long time, luxury was all about
Yeah.
opulence, power, prestige.
Right. Traditional stuff.
Yeah, but as we shift to EVs, those old markers of luxury,
Yeah.
they're evolving.
So what will define luxury in this new electric era?
That's the question, isn't it? And I think it's multifaceted.
Okay, go on.
Technology is going to be huge, of course.
Makes sense.
We're already seeing it, you know, driver assistance systems, personalized experiences, seamless connectivity.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
But sustainability, that's going to be key too.
Okay, how so?
Luxury brands, they need to show they care about the planet.
Well,
Responsible sourcing, ethical manufacturing.
yeah, it's about more than just the car itself.
Exactly. It's about the values behind it.
I agree. And design, that's still important.
Oh, absolutely.
Luxury EVs, they got to be visually stunning.
Yeah.
Sophisticated,
And
elegant.
practical.
Right. Can't forget about that.
Got to work for everyday life.
So it's a balancing act.
It is.
Form and function, technology and sustainability, appealing to both the heart and the head.
Exactly. And I think Cadillac with the Vistiq,
Yeah.
they're trying to strike that balance.
They are, whether they succeed or not.
Only time will tell.
It's a bold attempt, though.
It is. You got to give them credit for that.
So for our listeners, what does luxury mean to you in this new EV era?
That's something for each individual to decide.
It is. We've given you a lot to think about today.
I hope so.
Gone beyond the specs and features.
Right.
Explored the bigger picture. We have...
A future of luxury transportation.
It's an exciting time.
It is, and we're just getting started.
And as always, we encourage our listeners...
Yes.
...to keep exploring, to keep researching, and to form their own conclusions.
Absolutely. The EV world is full of possibilities.
It is, and it's changing every day.
That's what makes it so fascinating.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the 2026 Cadillac Vistiq.
My pleasure. Always a good discussion. They can pack a lot of power into a small space.
So more range.
Exactly. And that's a big selling point for EV buyers.
It is. Range anxiety is a real thing.
It is. So, yeah, the Ultium platform, it's a game changer.
It sounds like it'll be interesting to see how it impacts the market.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The whole EV landscape could shift.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
Oh, yeah.
Explored the Vistiq's design performance range. That impressive interior, its place in the market.
Yeah, we've really gone deep.
We have. But what I find most intriguing is Cadillac's ambition.
Yeah, they're aiming high.
They are. It's like they're not just trying to build another car.
Right.
They're trying to redefine what luxury means in this electric age.
I think that's a great way to put it. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, for a long time, luxury was all about opulence, power, prestige.
Right. The traditional stuff.
Yeah. But as we shift to EVs, those old markers of luxury, they're evolving.
So what will define luxury in this new electric era?
That's the question, isn't it? And I think it's multifaceted.
Okay, go on.
Technology is going to be huge, of course.
That makes sense.
We're already seeing it. Driver assistance systems, personalized experiences, seamless connectivity.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
But sustainability, that's going to be key, too.
Okay.
Luxury brands, they need to show they care about the planet.
Right.
Responsible sourcing, ethical manufacturing.
Yeah, it's about more than just the car itself.
Exactly. It's about the values behind it.
I agree. And design, that's still important. Oh, absolutely.
Luxury EVs, they got to be visually stunning.
Yeah.
Sophisticated, elegant.
But also practical.
Right. Can't forget about that.
Gotta work for everyday life.
There's a balancing act.
It is.
Form and function, technology and sustainability, appealing to both the heart and the head.
Exactly. And I think Cadillac with the Vistiq, they're trying to strike that balance.
They are, whether they succeed or not.
Only time will tell.
It's a bold attempt, though.
It is. You gotta give them credit for that.
So, for our listeners, what does luxury mean to you in this new EV era?
That's something for each individual to decide.
It is. We've given you a lot to think about today.
I hope so.
Gone beyond the specs and features.
Right. The future of luxury transportation.
It's an exciting time.
It is, and we're just getting started.
And as always, we encourage our listeners to keep exploring, to keep researching, and to form their own conclusions.
Absolutely. The EV world is full of possibilities.
It is, and it's changing every day.
That's what makes it so fascinating.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the 2026 Cadillac Vistiq.
My pleasure. Always a good discussion.
And to all of you listening out there, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the world of cars.